We're starting today's episode off by getting a first look at the top of the draft class on the offensive side of the ball. Next episode, we'll be looking at the defensive side, and for now, we're only looking at the top of the draft. I do have people on my board all throughout the draft, but we'll be looking at those guys a little bit later after the season. I'll do a more extensive draft preview, and I'll probably, the plan is right now, include clips in those as well. But for now, this is just a first look. And starting at the quarterback position, the number one prospect in this draft is Kevin Blatchford out of Oklahoma, 21-year-old player. He has a beautiful spiral on all of his passes, stands tall in the pocket, and is aware of pressure and does well to avoid sacks by throwing the ball away. Very good traits that I'm seeing here. More of a pocket style quarterback and has a fast over the top style motion. Not much of a mover, unfortunately for him. As his trait said, he's gonna do most of his damage from the pocket, but he does have a really strong arm. And then what makes him an incredible quarterback prospect is the fact that he is extremely accurate. A deep, A medium, B short. He also does great under pressure with that A to B. Good play action. Throw on the run is on at least a decent starting spot. He's good at breaking sacks and is very, very aware. Stuff like spin move and juke not being good, I don't really care about. Also has good injury and stamina. This is absolutely an incredible quarterback prospect that we're looking at here, and I think is somebody worth maybe doing a little bit of tanking for. A lot of these teams here at the bottom of the standings should be trying to get this quarterback, because with his accuracy and with his traits and with his age, he has a very good chance of hitting. We are the top fit for him. We're the top fit for all the quarterbacks, really. There's another quarterback at the top of this class that I am intrigued by. His name is Trent Picard, here, San Diego State. We know a little bit less about him. What we know from his traits is that he also has the does well to avoid sacks by throwing the ball away, which means he has ideal decision making. But his sense of pressure isn't as good. It could use some improvement, which isn't bad. There's certainly worse traits you could have. That I think that's the average sense of pressure, and that's what we've had with our quarterback. So just to give you an example of kind of what we're seeing, and traits with quarterback in a CPU versus CPU franchise are incredibly important, because you know, when you're controlling the player, it doesn't really matter. It's kind of like tendencies in 2K, where you don't worry as much about tendencies when you're playing, but when you're watching, it's the traits that are going to drive the player. In Madden, it's the tendencies in 2K. He is a little bit better of a mover than Blatchford. Also has a strong arm. I don't know about straight. I mean, hopefully it bends. We know a little bit less about him. He could be somebody that we use a additional scouting for. His awareness, we don't know quite as much. We know he has A under pressure. We know he has A deep accuracy. We know his throw on the run's not going to be great. We know his play action's decent at best, and then medium accuracy looks to be one of the three middle grades. So he's not going to be elite. He's not going to be terrible. Somewhere in between, and then he looks to be at least a good short accuracy player. Could even be elite there. Like I said, there are some things, getting to know what his awareness is exactly, throw on the run, and those accuracies that could change a little bit of how we view him, because his traits are in a pretty good spot. Again, they're not perfect, but I think he's definitely a draftable quarterback. I would say he's going to be on the short list for the additional scouting. Running backs, there are a few guys I didn't even look at them. We have Robinson. We're not taking a running back early in this class. Fullback, there's nobody. Wide receiver, there are two players at the top of this class that I think are worth talking about. Eric Carnahan, 6'4", 220 pounds, 21 years old, out of Oklahoma State. He has great strength and great jumping and acceleration. His top speed isn't anything special, neither is his agility or change of direction. He definitely has, you know, a good list of strengths here. Good at the short route, good at the spec catch, great release. He can catch in traffic a bit. His awareness is there, stiff arm. C catching, C deep routes, and F injury. Give me a little bit of pause with this player, but I think somebody who's going to be at a good spot with his release and route running off the rip, which I think is going to really help him in a CPU versus CPU style franchise. And then of course, with his size and his jumping ability, should be a good contested and / spectacular catch player with his A spec catch and his B catching traffic as well. Very good player and worthy of that round 1 tag. There's another player that's very similar here in Lonnie Kilgore. In fact, despite the fact that he's a bit smaller, I think I might like him just a little bit better. Also 21 years old, just because he does have a little bit more of that speed and agility. And if I'm going to draft a receiver high, I want somebody with that. He has B short route, B medium, and C deep route. So very similar in terms of how they run their routes. Not nearly as many A's here, so that is what you'd give in favor of the first receiver. But you know, A break tackle, A vision, A and B catching. So he's a better catcher. They're pretty close. Looking at them again, I don't know if I would still have Kilgore over the first guy, but I think it's very close. Problem with both of these receivers though, F injury. They've had some injury issues at the collegiate level. Next up is tight end, and I think there are 3 tight ends that are going to go early in this class, and I think they're all definitely good tight ends. Starting here with Dalton McKinney out of Alabama, 6'5", 240 pounds. Every single thing on his, you know, athleticism card is great to elite, so you gotta love that. He's gonna have A catching and A deep route, B run block. If I had one maybe drawback here is he's not gonna be a good short route runner, which I think is pretty important for tight ends. And you know, if I'm gonna draft a tight end early, I'd really love an elite blocker. B is certainly not bad by any means. And I think you'll take the B run blocking combined with this elite athleticism. So still a really, really good tight end prospect. Nathan Kendrick is up next. He's only 6'2", also 22 years old. He is very similarly athletic, not quite as strong though. And he also just doesn't have nearly as many A's. B run block again, B catching, B deep route. He does have that B short route though, which I like to see. He's going to be a better short route runner than McKinney. Leslie Ingram is the last guy. He's the biggest here, 6'6", 258. All these guys are 22 years old. Another excellent athlete. Has C to F injury, which you are worried about. Also only C short routes. Has B catching and B deep routes. Run block, we don't know. Could be A, could be C. I wish I did know that, because if I knew it was A, he'd probably go up my tight end rankings, but the fact that we don't know makes me a little bit skeptical there. Has some spec catch abilities to him as well. All really good. I don't know if I can really, I guess McKinney you could consider like a borderline elite tight end prospect, but all really good prospects. Somebody that absolutely is elite, without a doubt. In fact, he's in at least my top 3 in this class, is Charlie Kyle, the left tackle out of Florida. He's 21 years old. We are the top fit for him. He has great to elite on every single spot on this athleticism scale. And then look at this ratings chart. Everything is A or B. I don't know if I've ever seen that from a lineman. Usually they have the one thing they're good at and the other is C at highest, and oftentimes D or even F. But he doesn't have anything on this entire skills chart below a B. We don't know what his true pass or run block rating is, but we know it's either A or B, so that's really good. Elite athlete, excellent age, elite skill set at a spot we really need. This is pretty much as close to a perfect prospect as you're going to find. And I think him alongside Blatchford at the top, he is the 6th ranked prospect on the consensus big board. But again, I'd have him top 3 pretty easily. There is a few actually really good defensive prospects that we'll go over next episode, but he is an incredible prospect. There are a couple other left tackles that I like here. David Owens, another 21-year-old, very important to get 21-year-old players in this game. Another really excellent athlete. He's almost as good as it gets there. And then we see some A's here. He has A awareness, A lead block, and impact. We don't know much about his blocking though. We know he's A to C block, but the difference between A and C in pass blocking is pretty big. We know he's not going to be a very good power blocker. He's got D pass block power and then C to F run block power, but he's going to be good finesse. Looking at these ratings, I don't think pass blocking is going to be an A though. Still a great player, great age, great athleticism, and at least a solid starting point, if not a good starting point. So I think he's a fair round 1 tackle prospect. Reggie Grenard here, 22 years old. He is not quite as fast as these other guys, not quite as athletic, but still plenty athletic enough. I don't know why when I press RB, it's pressing it twice. I don't know if my controller's going out on me or something. But A awareness, A impact block. Another guy just felt like we don't know anybody's pass block or run block. How is that possible? All these guys, we don't know some of their more important ratings. We just got unlucky, I guess. But another guy who, just from what I'm looking at here, I mean, all of his run block is going to be at least C, so he's going to be a good run blocker. Pass block finesse being so low is a bit of a challenge. Going to be more of a power guy overall, but I think he's still a pretty good player and a good athlete. Left guard, there is one guy here at the top of the draft that I like. It's Jonathan Terrell. He is another elite athlete. Can't jump, but I don't really care. I care much more about strength, speed, and acceleration with my lineman. And he has great to elite in 2 of those and good to great in the other. So he is elite where it matters at the offensive line position. And here you're seeing everything's going to be at least B except for, at least C except for pass block power, which is going to be at D. And so I think he's a really well-rounded player. Injuries, not great, but I think he more than makes up for it in other ways. Has maybe some more B's than A's, but that combined with his elite athleticism, I think makes him one of my favorite linemen. Of course, apart from Charlie Kyle, he's definitely lineman 1, but Terrell is in the conversation for sure for my 2nd favorite lineman in this class. At the center spot, I like one of these 2 centers here, a 22-year-old out of Georgia who is very fast. Was only above average strength, but he's very fast. And he's going to be a really good run blocker, more of a power lineman again. His pass block finesse could be a problem, but in the interior offensive line, that's not nearly as much of a problem. And I think if you can get him in the 2nd round, he's going to be worth that pick. I don't know if he's a 1st round lineman though. Right guard, there's only one guy at the top. Don't like him that much. So let's go to the last position here on offense. Carter McCoy, 21 years old. You see that D pass block? I would definitely be drafting him to play guard rather than tackle. You just can't have a tackle with D pass block. But if you move him to guard, I think you could do it, especially because this guy is as good of an athlete as Charlie Kyle. He's the 2nd best athlete in this entire class. He's just not quite as refined of a player. And so I think McCoy, just with that age and athleticism combo and the fact that he's going to be a really good run blocker and finesse player overall, I think that probably puts him in as my 3rd favorite lineman. So if I had to rank the linemen here, Charlie Kyle, obviously number 1. And then I'd go Jonathan Terrell, number 2. I'd go Carter McCoy, number 3. And then there's a pass protector here in John Tafoya that I haven't talked about. 22 years old, not very strong, has good top speed, very good pass blocker, but not a good run blocker. I also like him quite a bit as well. So it's probably between these 2 as to who my 3rd favorite lineman is. So Apart from that, I think just overall the top of this class on the offensive side of the ball, Kevin Blatchford, blue chip quarterback prospect. You got to love it. A couple solid but injury prone receiver options, a few good tight end options. I think the pass catching is pretty strong overall. We'll have several chances at one should we want one. And then also offensive line. I think there's a good chance that we are taking an offensive lineman with one of our first 2 picks in the class. I think there are some good candidates for that. And that will conclude our initial look at the top of the class on the offensive side of the football. So now that we've got the draft preview done, let's go ahead and start to talk about the football we're going to be playing here in this episode. We've got a rain game here against the Buffalo Bills. Of course, are a very talented football team with a great quarterback. And I think for them, they're not actually an insanely good offense. I think we can try to stop the short pass. And then against them, their defense has actually been really good this year. So could be tough there. Some upgrades here before the game. Jonathan Abram going to get a little bit to acceleration. +2 acceleration is pretty nice. Some zone coverage alongside that. Denzel Mims has not had much of a role for us, but if we ever get an injury to the wide receiver room, I imagine he'll be the guy that steps in and starts to get some reps. So let's hop into this rainy home game against the Bills. And once again, I had to quiet the gameplay as I was sick over this last weekend. I got ahead on some recordings, but all of my Madden recordings had weird in and out audio. And so this episode and the next one, both the gameplay audios are a little bit just chocked. So they'll be quieted down. But apart from that, we're ready to hop in. Decided to wear the white unis today. We've just had all home games. That's just been the luck of the draw for the games that I've actually wanted to watch. But I wanted to see us in the white unis, so we'll have them on today. Buffalo will be wearing the blues. And Coach Smart and the boys will be ready to take on the Bills, coming off our first ever win in our last spotlight game. I think our opponent is a bit tougher today in Buffalo. Cook gets things going on the ground with the first down there. Josh Allen finds Gabe Davis over the middle, up near midfield already for the Bills. 2nd and 2. That's going to be a backwards pass. Kind of a funky play there. That's going to lose 3 for Buffalo, bringing up a 3rd and medium. Allen has time. He's going towards the sideline, but is picked off by Troy Pride. He is going down the sideline faster than anybody else, and he is taking it to the house. A pick 6 to open up the game on Josh Allen. A beautiful play. It looked like Diggs had a step, but Allen put it in a spot where Pride could make the play. Still an awesome play. Had to reach out and snag that one. And then, of course, with the speed to bring it up the sideline. His speed is kind of what's made him that corner 2 over a lot of the other guys with similar ratings. Buffalo back out offensively, going deep on 3rd down. Christian Gonzalez got a paw on that one. So the defense gets stop number 2 here already in the first 3 minutes of the ball game. In my NBA mode, where I'm thinking it's 12-minute quarters, but here in this series is 13. Taking a look at Mond, he did have, some support in the comment section of last video. That being said, that touchdown interception ratio is not looking great, but he did look pretty good in that spotlight game last time. So gonna keep him in there, at least for now, but I will say his leash still is pretty short. That sack wasn't really his fault, though. Von Miller just came screeching in. And then on 3rd and long, we're just going to throw a screen pass into the dirt. So nothing doing for the offense on our first possession. 3rd and 4 for Josh Allen here. He's going over the middle, and that was just dropped by Stephon Diggs. Sean Wade was in coverage. Diggs asking for a flag on a push, but he's not going to get one. Come on, towards the sideline, throwing it into double coverage with a couple of Bills superstars. Probably lucky to get away with that one, and now he's going down to another one of those superstars on the Bills defense. Rough start for the Memphis offense in this one. They're going against a good defense in rainy conditions, though, so you got to give them a little bit of slack. Allen in Memphis territory. He's going to go down. It's going to be Anthony Jennings and Jalen Carter combining on the sack. The first for Memphis of this ball game. 3rd and 13, just one play later. It's going to be a diving play made by Kendrick Bourne past the sticks. Allen put it right on the money, and Bourne was able to hold on to it. Play action here for Allen. He's trying to make something happen, but Jalen Carter was there to take him down all by his lonesome. Rare. You see quarterback as big as Josh Allen get taken down, kind of pile-driven just by one man. Allen here on 2nd down going for the deep shot, but Michael Ojemudia was there for the breakup. Now it's 3rd and long. Allen has it past the sticks. Another 3rd and long conversion for Buffalo. This time it's Gabe Davis over there making some separation on the in-breaking route. Couple big plays for Gabe early on in this game, and then just the easiest of touchdowns you're going to see to Nyheim Hines. Was not even touched. Didn't even need to make a man miss. Just waltzed it right in there from about 10 yards out almost. And Buffalo ties this game up. Great block downfield by Gabe Davis there to make that one easy. Davis having a pretty good start to this game. Mond has Jalen Reagor. Gets kind of bounced around like a pinball there, but good play. And Bijan accelerates through the hole. Big gain for the star running back. Under center is Mond. He's trying to evade the rush, but he's not going to be able to do it. Ed Oliver, the latest to get the sack. Been a lot of problems here in the passing game, as you see minus 20 passing yards in the first quarter. Just some bad sacks taken by Mond. Some not his fault, some I think you have to put the blame on him. And here he's going down again. My goodness. Do we need some offensive linemen? Previewed some that I like here earlier on in the episode. And I think we're proving why we need to maybe spend a high draft pick on one. The defensive line, however, Anthony Jennings specifically has been the bright spot, I think, so far of this season. I mean, we're getting pressure on these quarterbacks, and Anthony Jennings, I feel like a lot of his sacks are just keeping contained, and that's not meant to say anything bad. A lot of edge rushers have problem keeping contained, and he's been getting a lot of production off of that this season. Is Bijan with a really nice 9-yard run on something that looked like it had no legs. Gonna finish off the first down on the next play. Mond under center. Outside give to Bijan, and we've got another good gain. That'll bring up 3rd and short for the offense. Like to see the run game picking things up here as the game goes along, especially because the pass game has been so spotty for us. And there we see a throwaway from Mond on 3rd down. Thought he had a little bit more room to extend that play there, but threw it away instead. Hines, screen pass, makes a man miss and gains the first down. Full back into the game for the pistol formation. Cook gets the give, and he's got a lot of space. Good job by Hartsfield to make sure it was not an even bigger gain. A couple of explosive runs for James Cook in this one. 2nd and 5. Josh Allen down the sideline. He's got Stephon Diggs. He gets tackled into the end zone, and that's a touchdown for Buffalo. Troy Pride just got beat off the line, and Allen hit Diggs right on the money, and Diggs did the rest. Could not quite catch up to him in time with the safeties. And Buffalo takes their first lead here about halfway through this first quarter. Another nice run here from Bijan. Stiff arms a man and is up to the 40. 56 yards on 7 attempts. The run game has been as awesome as the pass game has not been, if we're being honest. I wish we'd run it even more because passes are not working out. Mond, you got to think the pressure's getting to him a little bit here. He had Max Blaines. We saw him hit that throw just last episode. But maybe he's seeing ghosts here with the Buffalo defensive line getting to him so much here to start this game. Bijan, gonna have a first down. Nice carry there. Up right at 69 yards on the day. Nice. On second down. Mon protected. Well, he's gonna throw a pick. No. We finally had a drive going. That was the best our offense looked by a mile. And then Mon just throws an awful pass. What is that? The pass rush has clearly affected Mon in this game, man. This is not the quarterback we saw last episode. Injuries starting to pile up a little bit here in these poor conditions for Buffalo. Allen, he's got Diggs again. No, not another touchdown, and we missed 2 dives. You've got to be kidding me. That play looked eerily similar to the touchdown we just saw a few moments ago. Different defenders this time. It was Wade and Hartsfield. But the same result. Diggs has just absolutely cooked us off the line twice now in this area of the field. Got to start giving a little bit more help than we've been giving. 3rd and 1. Don't want to give the ball right back to Buffalo, but that's exactly what we're going to do. This pass game has been atrocious this half. Gabe Davis continues his strong game with a big chunk play over the middle, bringing up the 2-minute warning. 3rd and inches. Allen to the flat. First down yards and more, and getting out of bounds with 25 seconds remaining. Buffalo looking to extend their lead even further here. Gonna be a sack, fumble, and we recover it in time, so no more points for Buffalo. Anthony Jennings, once again, man, he continues to impress this season. Knocks the ball out and saves some points on the board, but with only 20 seconds left, the offense wasn't going to do much with it. So that would be it for the first half. Still in the negatives for yards going into the half. Yes, it's a good defense. Yes, it's rainy defense, but that was bad enough for me to make a quarterback change at halftime. Matt Corral has come onto the field. We're going to start with a run that Von Miller blows up here. Want to see if Corral can maybe switch things up for us. And he throws a pick on his first pass attempts. You're joking. Yeah, oh my goodness. Made the quarterback change. But honestly, the only thing different is the number in the face. Still looking like the same thing out there. Josh Allen, a big strike to Diggs, man. Diggs and Gabe Davis, man. These two haven't been able to contain either. 2nd and goal from the 5. Allen has time. He's evading. And he's stiff-arming his way into the end zone. A nice run from the quarterback. Anthony Jennings actually didn't keep his contain there. Gave him credit for that earlier on. But that play, Josh Allen gets the best of him. It's now 28-7. Keaton Mitchell with the carry. A beautiful block. Is it going to spring him down the sideline? to the 20, to the 10, and he is tackled down at the 2, but a massive play for Memphis. Awesome blocking. And then is that Jalen Rager? No, that's Bijan Robinson, the other running back. What a flippin' block. This offense desperately needed something. And we got it there. First and goal. We go play action. I hate going play action from that formation because that's always the result. Because the corresponding defensive formation always has a free rusher. You can't go play action from that formation. Bijan gets us back close to the goal line on that carry. Third and goal now. Corral evading to his left and throws a beautiful pass to Rager in the end zone. And we do cap it off with a touchdown. Keaton Mitchell doing all the hard work, and then Matt Corral finishing it off with a nice throw on the run. We've seen him throw an interception and now a touchdown. And he's in for at least the rest of the game. We'll see about after. Because that first pass was terrible. Dalton Kincaid with a good grab over the middle in traffic. 3rd and 1. Cook almost stopped there, but Board could not finish off the tackle. Buffalo will keep possession. If we, get a stop here and score, this is a ball game, but it's not going to get it there. Wilson laid a big hit, but Kincaid had already hauled in the pass. Cook, again, another first down. The Bills are doing a nice job of getting in these short yardage situations when really the entire playbook is available. Now they have the 3rd and long. They're going screen. Stopped up short. 4th and 4 upcoming. You got to imagine this is a field goal attempt to make it a 3-score game. And that's exactly what's going to happen. 31-14. Would have loved to see a stop there from the defense, but could not get the Bills to get in 3rd and longs until it was too late. Corral on 2nd and 10. A nice rush for 11 yards. Find through some tackles. Here we're going read option. Corral. He's going to fumble the ball. It's picked up by Phillips, and he's picking it up, and he's running. Was he not touched down by Corral? Poona Ford, the big boy. Oh my goodness, they're going to say he wasn't touched by Corral. Buffalo down to the 2 just like that. Big formation. The give is in. Damian Harris with the carry. And the blowout is here, man. Just to think, just a few short minutes ago, we were thinking about maybe making this a ball game. But now it's 38-14. We've got 4th and inches. Is the offense going to stay out? Yes, it is. Coach Smart not ready to give up on this one yet. Got to love the competitive spirit. It's a give to the fullback. Watt. Dude, just go forward. Okay, they still gave it to him. Thought he was going to stretch it too far. And that he'd end up losing it. Free rushers on Corral. Not a great look on first down. Had a few too many free rushers here. This time, Remmers just got sat right on his backside. And Rousseau is going to Corral. Matt Corral. 3rd and 25. Just a check down to Bijan. Gonna bring up 4th and 16. Quarterback change has not done much. We're still turning the ball over. We're still giving up sacks. Both quarterbacks have looked pretty terrible today. 4th and 16, we're running a screen, and it's tipped at the line. A screen on 4th and 16? Just go ahead and tell me that you've given up on the game. I mean, that's basically what you're telling me. Anthony Jennings with a 3rd sack today. I mean, what was that play call? That was the worst one ever. Maybe good night. Bills just running some clock outs. They're going to take a field goal here. That's going to make it 41-14. If this is up and in, which it is. We are officially just getting hammered here at home. Surprised all these fans are still here. Just these conditions, the quality of this game. I'm done with it. So I'm surprised that some of these fans aren't. We'd end up scoring one more touchdown on the day to make it 21-41 the final score. But just not the best day on either side of the ball. Started off pretty nice with that pick six. I thought maybe we had an upset coming. We're not even going to look at the stats of that game because they were terrible. That's all I know. The question now becomes, who will be the starting quarterback going forward? Matt Corral definitely didn't impress in the half that we gave him, but we also just gave him a half in a rainy game that was kind of already tough. Coming out of this game, we'd have 2 injuries on the offensive line, Price and Strange both to miss multiple weeks. So our poor offensive line is going to get even poorer. Sweet. Coach Smart asked if the conditions are to blame for this loss, and he says no way. Both teams played on them and we sucked is basically the message there. We've also got ourselves our national scouting focus, which we will set on wide receiver, a position that I really like to get to 100%, just because I feel like it's the hardest to scout at, just 50% or even 75. If you're planning on drafting a receiver early, I always recommend getting that position to 100 because there's so many grade ratings assigned to that position. Next week, we would face the Dolphins, and we're trying to avoid going 0-2 against them in this scenario. We'd also have a under siege scenario here. Do we blame the quarterback or the offensive line? Decided to go quarterback here. I think a lot of our sacks can be blamed on either. It's kind of really half and half. I went with quarterback because it gives the nerf to Kellen Mond, where I'm actually going to start Matt Corral. I want to see him just a little bit more. I think Mond has just been really bad in simulation. He's had some moments in spotlight games for sure. But another factor in it is that Corral actually wants to re-sign, and so we could get him for cheaper should he decide to stay. And ultimately my goal all along was to, unless one quarterback really was playing well, I wanted to see both and get an idea, because I don't want to bring both back, and I want to figure out which one we should try harder to kind of bring back next year. I imagine we'll bring one back, if not to start, then at least be a injury replacement. Here against the Dolphins, we'd end up losing. No surprise there. They're quite better than us. I also want to see how Corral does in simulation, because Mond has really struggled in that area. I think he's always had more interceptions and touchdowns in simulation. I don't even think it's been 1-to-1. There might be one game where it's 0-0, but that's not necessarily impressive either. You know what I mean? So 10-23, not a great game for the boys. The Thunderbirds here, Matt Corral over 50%. He was 1-1 on the day. Ran for 21 yards as well. Nobody had more than 3 catches. Rager had 71 and a touchdown. So honestly, really similar to what we saw with Mond. Just Mond would usually have more than 1 interception, it felt like. Carter with another sack. Nice to see it. No picks. Couple deflections here. No forced fumbles for the defense. And Remmer's saying it really hurt that we got swept by the Dolphins. Yeah, it kind of does. You never like to get swept by a rival, but were we really expecting anything else? -10 morale for everybody. Dude, I don't need more morale hits. We're already losing so much from overall to morale. Oh. We're going to have better pass blocking in our next game. That's dope. We're also going to simulate that game here today. We're actually going to simulate 2 more games. Decided earlier on that I wanted to get this first season done maybe a little bit faster than most, whereas After this first season, we're probably doing 2 weeks an episode on average. This season, though, more 5 or 6 episodes is kind of the pace I've been looking to go. So we're going to do some simulating here. And Washington's putting it to us. 46-yard touchdown from Rager. We ended up making it look a little bit more respectable by the end, but make no mistake, Washington absolutely thrashed us in this one. 38-17 is the final. Everybody making the rounds and playing good sport here. Corral has another 1-to-1 interception to touchdown ratio here. Seems to maybe be his thing. He had that in the game that we played too. Well, we had the fumble to make it really 1-2. Pretty good game from Bijan. Average 4.7 a carry here on 17 attempts. Mims and Rager both with a touchdown. And a couple sacks allowed by runners. He's been really struggling, man. And he was, I think, one of our higher overall linemen. But I think they're all pretty bad after the 2 that we started off with. And then finally, one more simulation here today, and it's going to be against the Indianapolis Colts, who would get the scoring started early, but we'd respond pretty well, and now we have the lead. 10-point lead at that. But Indianapolis would soon erase that. I don't know how we didn't get any points on that possession, and now all of a sudden Indianapolis is taking it to us. What happened in this game? What was that? We were up 17-10, and the next thing you know, we were down 41-17. Oh my gosh, we had to have had some interceptions going, man. Three touchdowns for Corral, but 3 interceptions. Dude, this guy is insanely consistent. He had 300 yards, just threw 3 picks. He's kind of the boom and bust in simulation that I was expecting from Mon, you know? That's why we made Mon the starter at the beginning of the year, was the fact that he had the aggressive decision making. I thought I was going to lead to explosive plays, but also some interceptions. We definitely were seeing the interceptions, but not as much in the explosive plays. So 5 TFLs for Uche is pretty nice. But, man, Christian Gonzalez with a pick. You love to see it. Also with a couple of deflections. So that is going to wrap up the simulation portion. I wanted to get to the bye this episode, which is what we're doing right now. Just get the XP boost. We got a pretty bad roster, so I'll just take the XP. Got some upgrades here to do now at the end. We'll get Bijan a little bit more well-balanced here. Getting some carrying, some trucking, some stiff arm. I like to see it. Gonzalez. Slot, I think, is good. I'll give you both man and zone. But there's more towards man. He gets a speed and a zone and an acceleration. And this is an awesome upgrade, man. Good night. A speed and an acceleration and a coverage and a press. You're not going to get that very often. Johnson will go for a little bit more of the balanced build. Get him some power upgrades. I hate that that loses his scheme fit, even though his scheme fit is tied. If your scheme fit is tied for the most, you should always be a scheme fit, because you get the boost for it, obviously. So having that take away his scheme fit is actually a negative. So don't load that. Tyquan Thornton here. Get him a little bit of some route running, hopefully. 1, okay. I did say a little bit. I should have said a lot of it. And that's pretty much it in terms of guys that are starters, so we'll upgrade everybody else automatically. Last thing I kind of wanted to do was give a just after mid-season update. We're at 10 games, so with only 7 left, so really it would have been the last game that we did this, but I kind of forgot. And we're seeing here the difference between Corral and Mond here. Their completion percentages are very similar. Corral's rating is about 10 higher, He's also taken a lot less sacks. He hasn't started nearly as many games, but his touchdown to interception ratio is higher. So I think for next episode, Corral will start, but he's also going to be on a short leash. You know, I'm very willing to go back to Mond or even to go to Nick Foles if we need to. Bijan, 4 yards to carry, 5 touchdowns. Tyquan Thornton leads us in yards. Rager right behind him. Max Williams has kind of slowed down after a pretty impressive start. He had like all of our touchdowns early, it felt like. So there's that. Both of our running backs have a receiving touchdown. Remmer's already allowed 10 sacks. He's averaging a sack allowed a game. Not what you want to see. Johnson at 5 at this point in the season, I don't think is actually that bad for a rookie tackle. Board is leading us in tackles by 1. Mac Wilson right behind him. Both of our middle linebackers racking up the tackles. Anthony Jennings, my goodness, 22 TFLs, 11 sacks. He's got to be in the Defensive Player of the Year running, right? It obviously depends on how he finishes the year, but Carter with 12 TFLs, 5 sacks. Uche with double-digit TFLs, but only 2.5 sacks. Holmes, the other starter, with 8 TFLs, hasn't done too much. But big gap between Jennings and Carter, and then another pretty big gap between Carter and the rest. Gonzalez, 3 picks. Nobody else has more than 1. But like to see that, you know, Carter's doing well. Gonzalez is doing well. Bijan is doing well considering that he was injured for part of the year. And Paris Johnson. All 4 of our cornerstone players with a good start to their NFL careers, which is exactly what you're hoping for when you draft them to be a cornerstone player. That first fumble we saw on Josh Allen is the only one we've done all year. Chad Ryland, you know, contrary to what he's done in real life, has not missed a kick at all this year. Would he still be worth a 4th round pick, even with the number he's putting up in this franchise? That I can't answer. And Behringer, not a great average. But that's all I've got for this episode. We'll be back soon previewing the defensive side of the ball in the draft next episode. And until then, go Thunderbirds.